The day I got out of prison, I had a conversation with my mother. She said, Frederick, listen, you a hell of a dude. You was a good guy.
Right.
You know?
Why you trying to be a bad guy?
Right. You know, you care about people. She said, but the only problem I see you having is you don't know what you love. If you ever figure out what you love, you make better decisions for your life.
Wow.
So hear what I say, for it is the truth you see. There can only be one, the original.
OG. 2 letters that define respect. Welcome to the original OGs. I created the original OGs to document the forgotten parts of American history. I want to recognize and give a voice to the men and women that have climbed to the top of their game. Believe me, the men and women that sit in front of this marquee have been authenticated as original OGs. My name is Mr. Rick. Welcome to my world, a world of the originals, the unique. Welcome to the original OGs. Welcome to the original OGs. Today's guest from Chicago, none other than the Don, Dirk. How you doing, brother?
I'm all right, sir. How about yourself?
I'm pretty good. I'm just really blessed to have you on the show today.
Yes,
Really want to get into some things. Give me a chance to tell your story. Give you a chance to tell your story. We'll get right into it.
Yes, sir.
You grew up in Chicago
Yes, sir.
in a very peculiar time. Coming up in Chicago in that climate, what were some of the first things that you encountered?
Running with different peoples I met.
Mm-hmm.
We was young, stealing, pickpocketing. That was some of the first that I done. Then the involvement in a group that they call a gang today.
Mm-hmm.
I first come in as a gonzato.
Okay.
And,
What is a gonzato?
A gonzato was, I would say, another part of the Devil Disciple organization.
Okay. Why did y'all choose gonzato?
Well, when I got in it, a friend of mine that I met at that time became a friend. Godfather was a gonzato. He was a chief.
Okay.
And I came in with them.
Okay. And you and Godfather are still friends.
Yes.
And you transitioned into, we'll save that part of the story, but into another organization.
Yes.
Okay. So you're now you're coming up as a gonzato, and then that leads you into
The Disciple organization.
How did that happen?
The Devil Disciples was out. It was one of the number 1 branches outside of the Speed Kings. My brother Pluto was running the Speed Kings
Okay.
as the king at that time, which I didn't know.
Okay.
A brother named Laverne Longstreet had started the Devil Disciples that I later found out was the original starter and leader of that.
Okay.
Then progress went on. David Boxdale took over.
Okay.
So my brother and all got behind David Boxdale.
Okay.
We ended up getting behind him, even though we were still gonzatos, and my brother then went on to be disciples.
Okay. At what point did the gonzatos become disciples?
You know, during the years of that, while we was gonzatos, we were still hollering Devil Disciples.
Okay.
It's a deep thing. Psycho, you know, we were still saying that, even though we was gonzatos. But I think when I heavily fell into disciple ranks was in 1969, when everything was turning over, changing over.
Yes.
You know,
I get
that's
it.
when I can say I heavily came into it.
What was the goal of the gonzatos and the Devil Disciples when it first came out?
Well, up under King Dave Watch, it was about the people, the communities, our families, and harmony. We didn't steal from each other, fight each other. We couldn't do none of that without permission.
Right.
We refused to let people come into our communities and steal, rape, robbery, anything like that. And that's when I began to understand, which I've been knowed about the Stones.
Right.
You know, I've been knowed about them. And I knew that we had fights with them. So that was my transition.
So the organization was actually created to be community protectors.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now you've moved on. You're representing devil disciples, and you're under who?
I was under King Dave Watts then.
Okay.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about King Dave.
Well, when I first met him, I was in the YWCA on 66 and Union. Cause we lived it on 64th and Union.
Okay.
King Dave lived here, we lived there, next door to each other.
Oh, okay.
And he used to build my house all the time with my brother Pluto. And his whole family, all of us, his sisters, you know.
Like a family.
It was like a family. And they walked in just like we're walking to our own house. You know, they ate there, we talked, they slept there. We had different things that happened there. And my mother was like a mother to him. My mother used to cook for the organization when we had picnics, going to Star Rock, Colorado, other places. That daily them used to fund the trips because they didn't want the organizations at the Bud Billiken Parade no more, because every time the Bud Billiken Parade came up, the disciples and the Stones used to fight.
It must have been about 1969. My mother took me, I'm from the West Side. My mother took me to the Bud Billiken Parade.
Yeah.
We got to the parade, the procession was going, everything was cool. All of a sudden, there were a sea of guys with blue Tams on.
Yeah.
And then another group of guys appeared with all red Tams on. Now I'm about this big, man. And my mother, she's looking, because my mother is from Southside, and she's looking at this and she said, "Oh hell." When she saw them red and them blues, she said, "Oh hell, boy, let's go." Next thing I know, police was flying everywhere, running people over the whole 9 yards. These guys got the fighting, man.
When they came, they would say, "Stone, love, Stone
Exactly.
running." And we'll say, "Sypo, Sypo, Sypo running." And
Exactly
the next
what
thing
happened.
You know, we was fighting.
That's exactly
and
what happened.
What was crazy about it, we fought over the 7 hills.
Right.
For what? I mean, for what? And these are questions we ask now that we older. Why did we fight so much over the 7 hills? What I gathered is where the Stones was always at, where they met at, they gathered up at, they congregated at, and that's where we fought them at most of the time. You know, and we never understood.
But here's the thing about that, though. There was no gunplay.
Well, the guns wasn't heavily involved in.
Exactly.
But it had always been some shooting.
Right.
But it was mindful, respectfully, because it wasn't like it is today.
Right.
You just shooting. Don't care who you, it wasn't, man, we were knocking on doors. We was coming in the neighborhood. You know, we used to all be on the street. It ain't like today where everybody hiding in the house, doing all they dirt in the house. They rapping, they whooping from the house. Ours wasn't like that. We was on the block.
Right.
You know, and when the fight came, we fought.
Exactly.
I mean, you know, and
there's a lot of footage of that.
yes, and that's when I came in. But I always coming up. I can say from 9 years old on up, I was fighting a lot.
So
My first boxing match was against this guy named CP that used to be around Lil D. Lil D is known, today he's King Dave, but back then he was Lil D.
right.
And that was my first boxing match. And me and this guy became to be friends, all because we all ran in the same group almost.
Right.
We fought people together, we did everything, and time progressed for us.
So we lost King David in what year?
1974.
1974. So when we lost King David, who stepped into his seat?
Nobody knew that King Dave was going to die when he died.
I'm sure.
It was from kidney failure.
Really?
And yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because he had got shot by accident in 1969.
Okay, because I knew it was a shooting somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah. In 1969, the guys and gals was on 68th and Halstead at the side where the alley was. And Larry Hoover lived on Green, the next block.
Okay.
Right in back of the alley. So when that happened, Larry Hoover went and got his mother a brand new car. Put King Dave in it. They took him to the hospital. So
Larry took David.
This was right after, sometime after, it was in 69, that Larry Hoover became the king of the Gangster Nation.
Oh, okay.
Crowned by King Dave.
Oh, okay.
At that time.
So King David made the transition.
Yes, sir.
To Larry.
Because Tennessee, Prince, Old Timer, they all beginning to talk. And so Hoover at that time was an ambassador.
Okay.
He did for Jeff.
Oh,
and
Jeff Ford.
Yeah. And
really?
And we fought them up into 69. The sense to it was that if they did emerge, it would be a good move because long as Hoover and them were there and we were fighting them, they actually had us closed in.
Right.
So Jeff wouldn't give Larry what he wanted. You see? So Larry wanted to rule his own peoples.
Right.
And Jeff was taking that from him because Jeff wouldn't allow him to be a main 21.
Right.
So anyway, the talks was going on, and Hoover came on with it.
Wow.
And he became to be the king of the Gangster Nation.
Wow.
The brother Ike Taylor was his second in command.
Right.
Ike Taylor had the gangster branch. They was High Supreme, all out west.
Right.
You see.
My friend Face.
Yes. And so it was Hoover and Ike Taylor.
Okay.
And Ike Taylor was second in command. Tennessee was the prince.
Okay.
You see, King Dave was our king. Old Timer was our prince.
Wow. I have had the pleasure of talking with Old Timer on several occasions. I've been to his home, the whole 9 yards. It's interesting that you're giving me this story. Back in about 1971, 72, I was a Pee Wee Supreme Gangster. My friend, who was the chief of that community there, was Babyface. He's still my friend right today. I was with him when he got shot down. And he and I, we talk on a regular basis. And it's just, and the thing I'm getting to is, I never knew they were connected to you. We were surrounded by vice lords. And I, as a child, I just thought it was an independent group. I had no idea that much power was behind it, And to hear your story, And when you say this, I just want to interrupt and just verify some things that occurred in my life. I remember I ran away from home and Face kept me around him like I was his son or something.
Yes, sir.
So now we lose King David. Larry's in charge.
No, Larry wasn't in charge.
Okay.
In 1971, Hoover was in jail. Him, Prince Oldtimer, and Kilroy. And King Dave kept telling them, be patient, he was going to come and bond them out. Somehow, Larry went back to talking to Jeff Ford. Jeff Ford ended up bonding Larry and Kilroy out. King Dave ended up bonding Prince Oldtimer out. So, when all that transpired, they come to the streets. I guess Larry went back to here, but Tennessee then was saying, no, they're not messing with the Stones no more. They're not going back there, you know. So anyway, whatever erupted, Larry ended up losing his crown. Irving Green came in to be the king of the gangster nation. He lived up until 1972.
Wow.
Now, during this time, Larry is on the run for some charges that was given to him. I guess that's what he'd end up getting 150 years.
Murder charges.
So he had went to New York. How they actually got a hold of him, I can't say, but what I do know is one of the members was supposed to made a phone call to him, and they must have tracked that phone call, tapped in on it. So now they knew where he was. So they ended up getting him. So he ended up coming back.
Wow.
He ended up going through the court system, all that, and they ended up finding him guilty, getting him that time.
Wow.
So he ended up going to Stateville Penitentiary. During all the course of that, I was in Pontiac, where they kicked me out of Pontiac because they said I plotted a massacre, and they sent me to Stateville Penitentiary.
Okay.
I get to Stateville Penitentiary. In Pontiac, we wore tailor-mades. We had tailor shops.
Right.
And we had our little penitentiary outfits hooked up like we was on the streets.
Right.
At that time, bell bottoms was in, the dog collars, you know. And so I was shocked when they kicked us out and sent us down.
Right.
They talking about taking my clothes, and I'm telling them no. So at this time, the white people was racist there.
Right.
They was claims for real.
Right.
So everybody telling me, baby D, just give them the stuff. Man, don't mess with these, I'm gonna use the word they use, don't mess with these hunkies like that. They'll kill you. I said, man, F them, woo, woo, woo. Man, you couldn't tell me nothing.
Right.
You know, like, that's why I understand these shorties today. I was hard-headed. At that time, the people that was running Stateville were trying to get people to me to talk to me, to tell me calm down. At that time, I done snapped.
Right.
They done sent me straight to the hole, you know.
Okay.
And it looked like a tombstone once.
What you had in Stateville?
When
it
you
is
lay
a
down
tombstone.
And, when you lay down and you look up, man, it looked like you in a casket.
I've been in Stateville.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
Man, I was just going through it. Larry hadn't got there yet. So after that, I ended up fighting all the guards because you couldn't use your organization name.
Right.
You couldn't represent. Man, I was headstrong. I wasn't trying to hear nothing.
Right.
I was proud of the disciple name.
Right.
And I was candid. We was hitting our chest, bam, psycho,
Right. Exactly.
psycho, you know, and you couldn't do that there.
Right.
And I'm like, what is wrong with y'all? Y'all scared? So anyway, we go back to the cell house. Something happened. And I go off on the guards. So they wanted to lock us up or something. I thought, we ain't going nowhere. So right before that, Ricky Knight them had pulled the same thing.
Right.
And they gave up though. I told them, you're going to have to drag us up. And that's what they did.
Drug
After
y'all
so
up out of
long
there.
of being, first they cut off our water, you know, they gave us play meals, you know, and finally the fight came. They
Right.
sent the preacher to the door. I told, man, get on away from here. Tell them come on with it.
Yeah.
Man, next thing you know, they came, shield, clubs, everybody looking at me. I said, get ready to get down.
Right.
You know, we got down for a good while. When they got in, shh, I was still fighting. When they grabbed me and said it's over with, I was still fighting.
Wow.
So when finally my mother them and David them heard about it, they represent my mother them down there. My mother them get there, they tell my mother, the little one fought the strongest. Everybody else gave up, but he wouldn't give up.
Right.
Because they had messed me up. But they ended up dragging me out the cell. So they sent me to SPU. So after I was released from SPU, because we had to fight in SPU,
Right.
there was a special program unit. That's where I was able to meet A.D. McCriskin, Jeff Ford Bodyguard in person, and Lefty and all them,
Right.
and some more Stones. And that's why I really learned to read
So
and write.
we understand some of King David's history. We understand some of Mr. Hoover's history. So now Mr. Hoover's doing time.
Yeah.
At what point did you begin to sit in the chair?
Well, when Larry came to Stateville and they were trying to hit him, I was in the tailor shop, he was in the book bindery. And they said Larry was going around telling people that David said that if he died, he was supposed to took over. So Hoover never did that. So anyway, when I come in from the tailor shop, I get word what's finna happen. They finna hit him. And I go to the guys that were really running things. I said, no, he ain't did, you know. And they, yes, he have. And we was arguing. So I went to the person that they had. I told him, stand down. No. You know, and because I was mostly guiding all these younger guys.
Right.
So Hoover come in, and that's when everything started. So Hoover say, I ain't told him nothing. So then after all of that, I told him, man, if y'all gonna do that, we you know, we knew it was finna be a bloodshed.
Right.
So Hoover said, I don't even run it. I ain't even in it no more. I said, but these people believe in you. And when I act, they say, I said, then you they king, you know,
Right.
like that. So that's when he got his crown back, put on his head, during that course.
Right.
So fast forwarding, I end up going home in 1975. King David's dead, died in 74. I go to the center. OG ran to be the king. Prince Oldtimer ran to be the king. And Jerome Freeman, Shorty Freeman, ran to be the king. Didn't nobody accept them.
Right.
So I'm on the run now because I was home for about 30 days. I get caught up in a murder, some more shooting. I go on the run.
Right.
So while I'm on the run, I get caught in California.
Okay.
They bring me back in 1976. When they bring me back in 1976, that's when I go through my transition in the county jail. Everybody telling me, your brother gone, ain't nobody left, you know. So I became the Minister of Defense first.
Okay.
Then after that, Mickey Boyd them saying, man, look, we thinking about making you the Don, you know, head over everything, ain't nobody left.
Right.
So I end up taking over.
Okay.
I end up writing the literature, the prayers, coming up with the clenching of the fist, the trade for third world, and all of that.
Okay.
So right after that, Shorty Freeman come into play.
Okay.
I crowned him king in 1978 in the Cook County Jail, Division 1.
So now you're king and he's king?
No, I'm Don Dirk.
Oh, you're the
See,
Don.
I was the Don.
Right.
I had the organization.
Okay, but
I
now
was
you-
King Dave's successor.
Right, now you're
And then
crowning.
I crowned him because I had fight of life in California. I'm facing a double murder they were trying to give me, but I only got convicted on one murder
Right.
because they couldn't give me the other. So when I crowned him king, it was supposed to have been till I got out and me and him got together and did something different.
Right.
But the script was flipped.
Right.
So anyway, we at this point today where we at.
And today, how are you using the movement today? And I'm sure it's a positive situation.
I'm using the movement the way King Dave, Hoover, them was doing it back then. I'm trying to stop the violence, because the violence wasn't never that bad during our time.
Exactly.
But you got young women's out here with children, ain't got nowhere to go. People taking advantage of them. You got young people on drugs. People talking about job, but how can you get them a job? And they need to be habilitated. Not rehabilitated, but habilitated.
Right.
They need help.
Exactly.
We need programs. These people is on the street, ain't got nowhere to go, living from house to house, you see. And then they got to pay bills, you see. They can't be with their mamas, you know what I'm saying, or their daddy, because they hard-headed, things going on. So I'm trying to do what they were doing back then, create a safe haven for
Exactly.
them. Not to misuse and abuse them,
Right.
but to help them.
Get it.
And then some of them need to further their education. They don't go to school because the schools ain't controllable no more. If you go to the wrong schools, you're dead.
You see what I'm saying?
Right. And then when everybody in school, they gang banging. From the
Exactly.
girls to the boys. So back then, we was truant officers for the
Right.
guys. We was checking in on them. And
remember.
I got record in history now where people showing where I used to take people to school, pick them up from school to make sure they was getting their learnings. You see what I'm
Exactly.
saying? And this is what needs to be done today. But we not getting that help from the they giving the police to them so much money to open up projects and things for these people to help them.
Right.
They ain't doing. They're giving money to the peoples right now on the street. Them peoples ain't in the community. You stay here, you stay on this corner. Right up, but the killing is happening in the community.
Exactly.
People going in people's houses, dragging them out, killing them. The police ain't doing nothing. But I'm saying this is like this because it's made to be like this.
This show has the intent to define what a real OG is, what an original OG is. My partner and I have developed a method to ensure that if someone should sit in front of this OG logo, that they have been authenticated and found to be true in their history as far as what an OG is.
Okay, and we're back. This is the original OGs, and we were talking to Mr. Don Dirk. We have added a guest, a very popular, very powerful brother, friend of mine, Mr. Brick. But we're going to continue briefly with the end of the story that Don Dirk was telling us. Go ahead and finish saying what you were saying, my good brother.
See, what we have to understand is what the government and the police them joined in to put together, and that was to take the leaders off the streets and to make it the way it is today, because they knew that people was going to fight for drug territories, for leadership, and they knew people was going to begin to get killed. They were going to kill each other. They admitted that. They said they wanted that to happen because they never wanted it to get back like it was when that LSD thing jumped off in 1969. Lord Stones and Disciples came together. They marched all downtown. They were becoming political, and they was going against things that was plaguing our community harmfully. And they wasn't letting us financially grow. So during that time, Hoover had put something together, and they marched on the Daily Center, and it scared them so bad that when they came after Hoover and all, they meant to shut everything down because they never wanted us to be politically strong. That's why they took the leadership away. just as they did with the fathers in the house during the time they had that ADC. They used that Willie Lynch syndrome. And that's what we find ourselves at today.
Beautiful. Well, introduce my friend, Rick. And what was your upbringing in the organizations on the west side of Chicago?
Well, my upbringing was different from a lot of different people. I was born into it because I come from a dark place. You feel me?
Yeah.
And that dark place prepared me for the place I'm in today. I always say from a dark place to a black card holder. You
Yes,
feel
sir.
me?
Yeah.
And mine wasn't built up on no game. Mine was built up on something different. You know, gang activity, I really tried to stay away from it because it was real controversial. And it was only because it were two people that had different ideals and different reasons why they wanted to be in control of something.
Mm-hmm.
And what they wanted to be in control of were really nothing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So you never experienced the gang life?
I experienced the gang life at the very beginning of my life in this world because I was born into it. Like I said, I come from a dark place. Let me break it down. I come from a dark place called the Holy City.
Exactly.
You know, it's where the vice lords originated from.
Right.
But I was raised in the house of players. You know what I'm saying?
I get it.
And they had a different idea of the game.
Right.
Me going outside, getting in trouble at a very young age and winding up in a prison system.
Right.
That's when gang come into my life because I rode with my friends.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And I didn't just ride with them. I took them from a fucked up position, a messed up position
use your
to
language.
a better position.
I get it.
You know?
So I can remember when you went to prison.
Yeah.
We both went about the same time. But I remember when you came home.
Right.
When you came home, I remember you came on Madison, and you had a very good spirit about yourself because you had all these plans and ideas in your head.
Right.
You know, and at that time, that's when you began to look more into the business world.
Right. That came about because I had a praying mama, man.
Yeah.
You know, I had a
Okay.
real mama, man. And she had her life set up in a certain kind of way.
Right.
And when I came to Madison, I was coming out of prison.
I remember.
You remember?
I was there.
The day I got out of prison, I had a conversation with my mother. And she said, listen, she called me by my first name, Frederick.
Right.
She said, Frederick, listen, you a hell of a dude. You was a good guy.
Right.
You know?
Why you trying to
care
be a
about
bad guy?
people. Right. You know, you care about people. She said, but the only problem I see you having is you don't know what you love.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That was pretty heavy.
She said, you don't know what you love. If you ever figure out what you love, you make better decisions for your life.
Wow.
You know what I'm
That's
saying?
pretty heavy there.
And I said, what you mean by that? She said, take it for instance, me. I love my health. I love my freedom.
Wow.
And I like money.
Right.
But if that money gonna mess with my health
And
and
my
my freedom, I don't want it.
Hello.
You know what I'm saying?
Hey.
And you money hungry. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You did. That's why she put it in that perspective.
Right.
In other words, to say, I'm not gonna do anything for money.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Make it clear.
I love money, but I'm not gonna do anything for it.
Right.
Cause money don't belong to nobody. Anybody get it can spend it.
Exactly.
You
And then
know?
go to the next person.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm coming from that point of view. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right.
Being raised by a mama, that kid. You
Yeah,
know?
exactly.
And I made my mind up that day because
Wow.
I love my life. I love
Exactly.
my freedom. And I didn't need money bad enough to do anything for it no more.
Exactly. You
So I
know,
took a chance and went and changed my life.
hey, I
That's
get
when
it.
I came to Madison.
Exactly. At that time, you didn't just have a mother in your life, then you met a woman.
Oh, no doubt about that. I can't wait to tell you about her. She's simply amazing.
Wow.
You
She's
know,
my friend as well.
wow. A woman I've been married to for 30 years.
Wow. Wow.
30 years. And she's a real beautiful person and she a loving person. She care about people.
Wow.
You feel me?
I feel you.
Everybody needs somebody that they can love and be a part of.
Yes, sir.
I come from the game, but I didn't like the game.
Right.
I'm gonna keep it real with
Nah,
you.
hey, man.
Cause I knew bitches go man to man, money go hand to hand.
You did.
But when I got a wife, you get a good thing. You know what I'm
Hey,
saying?
you see what I'm saying?
And I just didn't get no wife. I built my wife.
Exactly.
I gave her a cash register that they'll never stop ringing.
Hey, I bear you
You
witness,
know what I'm
brother.
saying? When
bear
I
you
came
witness.
home from the penitentiary, I gave her a cash register that didn't never stop ringing, and you're a witness to it.
I bear total witness to
You
it.
did. I come to the game. I left the game after that conversation with my mother. I never broke another law.
Wow.
I ain't broke a law in 30 years.
Wow.
I don't break laws.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? But I found something to replace the game that I thought I was missing.
That's what you gotta
And
do.
I found a sandwich, Philly cheesesteak sandwich. I'm the king of the world famous Philly cheesesteak sandwich
Off
in
Madison
Chicago. Tastebud world famous Philly cheesesteak restaurant is what I do. I only do a few things in life. You know what I'm saying?
No, I get you.
sell food, I sell alcohol, I sell space, and I sell sex appeal.
That's exactly what you do.
That's what I do.
Now, you started with the Philly cheese.
Right.
Then you went into Bricks
Nightclub.
Nightclub.
Right
Very
to the
beautiful. I mean,
Very
just
nice.
it's the
Thank you.
nicest thing on the west side. It's a beautiful place. I saw you build it from nothing.
Right.
I mean, I've been around you for some years. You know, you've been my friend. We've traveled and done things. When I wasn't doing too well. You know, you didn't mind giving a brother a hand. Hey, man, come on. You know.
Right.
And we've been friends ever since.
Right.
Now you just bought another club.
Right.
Okay.
A tavern.
Yeah. So that
Right.
when that one
Right.
fills, the overflow can go there. They're just
Right.
down the street.
Well, the tavern is basically for the older guys. The tavern been there 60 years.
I mean, it's been there a long time, brother.
You know, and I happen to have an opportunity to purchase it, and I did.
Beautiful thing. And I already
Right.
know what you're gonna do to
Right.
it.
I'm gonna do everything that.
And you
needs
got
to
a
be
banquet
did.
hall.
And I got a event hall.
Right.
Right.
So
I sell space.
right.
So when somebody want to do something, have something, then that's where I come in at.
Exactly.
But
So
you know, everything that I got, I built it.
oh, I
It
bet you
wasn't
witness,
nothing
brother.
given. You know, I took something that wasn't nothing and made something out of it.
That's what OGs do.
That's what I do.
With what you're doing and what my brother over here is doing, and he's struggling to try to help these children get it together. You do it in your way. I think we're going to be able to come together
Well,
and help these children.
these kids, they not bad kids. They just misled kids.
Hey, man, you and I know.
They
You try and
don't
say we
have
weren't?
No one to really listen to them or them to listen to
Exactly.
the other person.
Hey,
I mean, the dog back there.
hey, man.
You know?
You been back there. I've been back there. He
Yeah.
been back there.
I'm also trying to help these lost souls find their way For real, for real.
For real, for real.
And I see that, and what I'm doing is conflicting with what the police and the politicians is doing, because they making big money off the lives being lost and putting our children's in penitentiaries. They making big money off of what they done created.
I get it.
You see what I'm saying?
I get it.
And my thing is, he just said that ain't nobody listening to these children, these young people. People is listening to them, but a lot of people's hands is tied. You have to understand, a lot of these leaders that just made deals getting back out them federal penitentiaries is scared because they can easily go back because these people let a lot of them go. You see, because of the things they told them. And they told on leaders like Jeff and Larry. You see, so it's not really a lot of help. And then they making sure people like myself don't get funded to really help. What these children is saying something. And they saying they want better, but they're not getting better.
No,
These children don't like what's going on the street. All this fighting and killing that's caused by this rapping system.
Right.
These people have put all that money on the rap because the disrespect that's going to our mothers
message.
and daughters, this B stuff, this W stuff, and it's just way out.
Yeah.
And if the children ain't got nothing better to listen to, or nothing better put before them,
That's what they're gonna
this
listen
stuff
to.
gonna corrupt them. So this is what's going on. Look at these young kids out there dropping it like it's hot, and their mamas laughing.
Crazy.
You know, it's because of what the system is putting down, you
Right.
know, to destroy
Now,
anything we trying to do.
You know, that's a very good point, because that's the other end of the spectrum of what you just said when you came up under your mother.
Right.
And let's say that's what, 40-year difference, 50-year difference?
Better yet, they building more penitentiaries. You see,
Bigger profit.
And they privatizing them. You see what I'm saying? And people like me have to walk light. I have to tread thin because of what lies ahead of me. They would love for me to get caught up again. See, let me tell you something. The system thought I was through. When Shorty became king, you see, and Larry, them, they thought I was through. When all these young boys jumping up, talking about I'm the king, I'm this, they all getting killed and all that. You know, the system knew what was gonna happen. But they thought I was through because I'm laid back.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And then when they finally down on them, because they had me in the federal penitentiary.
Right.
They tried to railroad me, and the case went bad on them. They had to come with a cop-out.
Right.
So I did them little 5 years, 6 years, and got out. And since I've been out, they tried to take me back in 3 more times. It didn't, even the judge stepped up in my behavior that time and said, what have he done?
Right.
Well, the police, if he did wrong, why he ain't locked up?
Exactly.
So the judge ended up kicking my PO off my case because they seen what was going on.
Right.
So I managed to get on off of parole and to keep doing good. So when the police them looked up, they said, we thought he was through. We thought the guys weren't looking at him. I said this, I'm not into all of that. This is what I started getting the people, many called few as chosen, and raising them. And so when they looked up and seen I'm still here, they said, that's the real man. So you got so many people want to try to badmouth me because they put up to do that. But it ain't working because everybody that know the truth is stepping up to the plate. You see, they mamas, they daddies, you know, they uncle, they stepping up to the plate, letting them know that's a good man. So all the evil that's coming at me is felt.
Right.
So I'm able to do some of the things that I'm doing to save lives.
Let's talk about some solutions here. You know, what do you think we can do to try to help curb the edge to the problems we're having in our community? How would you approach that, Brick?
You got to start with words.
Okay.
Somebody got to make some kind of sense of it. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
Change is in the air.
I swear it is.
Time changed everything.
I agree.
The world right now is in a dark place. So therefore, the gang, the leadership, ain't no leadership. These guys, like we was when we first came out, we made our own gangs these days. We look out for each other.
Right.
Now you got a bunch of young black brothers running around with assault rifles with different opinions on how they feel stuff should go. You know?
Mm-hmm.
And like I say, time changed everything. We gonna pray for these young brothers though, man. You know?
We
gotta
got to.
pray for them. And, you know, after being in the dark so long, light is coming if you keep hope alive.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Hey, man, I feel you.
sir.
I feel you.
I know, Dirk.
No,
that
look,
more
look.
his conversation.
I beg the difference because it's like this series. Peoples that God done bless, that have something. Find the peoples out here that's really trying to do good for the people.
right.
Find them people and put money into what they trying
Put
to
resources,
do. You
yeah.
see, that's the only thing hurting us. Ain't no, and we ain't telling you give us the money. Just buy what we ask you to buy.
Give us
Just
the
help
resources.
us get buildings to put these young girls in that ain't got nowhere to live with their babies and stuff. Man, look.
Right.
We ain't helping each other to stop this problem.
Exactly.
Everybody getting theirs and holding it and running over here instead of trying to help.
I get
we
it.
help to help each other to help them people on the street. You see?
I get it. I think that we're creating a situation to whereas we can begin to do some of these things ourselves. They got to be done. It's our community. You know, you're a businessman. The community provides you to be able to be in business. I'm a businessman.
Right.
I understand how it works. I was in the same business you were in, and
Right.
what people didn't understand, we wasn't competitors.
No.
Never. You come my place, I come your place. We trying to make a living. Simple as that. But we have to be able to create some things like the Don is talking about for these people to be able to live in, to help these children. Exactly like you said, it's got to start with us.
Yeah.
We have to take control of a little bit and begin to work it up and allow it to grow into the things that we see and we know should be provided to these people. We have the power to do that.
We had a building that people's in jail can't get out because they have nowhere to go. I got a letter right here. Here's a guy that's trapped in jail, can't get out because I don't have my program back up and running yet. You see this? Back up and running yet. But I'm gonna see if they gonna let him come to my house to live. This ain't the first time. My mama was sick, and before she died, they gave me two peoples, and I sent them to where my mama was. They didn't know my mama didn't know them, but they lived there until they got off of parole, you see. And
Wow.
this is the stuff I be doing. This is
Exactly.
what I be doing. You see, trying to help people. And when they get here, I find them jobs. You see, and man, look.
Hey, I get it, brother. For the sake of time, hey, man, I understand what you're saying. I understood what you were saying totally. Beautiful conversation. We have to have more of these conversations.
Right.
And then we have to put a little action into our conversations. I know your frustration, brother. And we can solve some of this stuff. And we're going to solve some of it. Let's do some of the things that we have the power to do. And let's help some of these women with these babies and stuff be able to shelter the baby and themselves. So This is not the end of this conversation. We need you to follow us, listen to us, message us, let us know what you think, how you feel, how can we solve some of these things, and you help us bring this about. That's where we are today. If we keep on waiting on people to do for us, I can assure you we're going to be exactly where Dirk is talking about all the time. So we have to take some responsibility here. We got to help ourselves. So I'm not going to preach to you, but I'm just saying this is real. So my brother, I really want to thank you very much for being on the show.
It's a
My
pleasure.
man, Dirk, I heard you, baby.
Yes, sir.
We all got the same problem, and we can all solve our problem. That's it. That's all.
We have created this show so that men and women alike can come forward and tell their truth. If you have people that you believe to be an OG, go into the comment section, write us, let us know where to find the history so that we can authenticate it, bring them on the show, tell their story so that we can add to the American history. That's it. That's all.
The original OG.